And to add to the 6 international goals that he has scored from the back, that is capable of operating in a number of different coach at Manchester United, whom York worked alongside whilst he was taking his coaching badges. One of the first things he did when he got the job with Trinidad and Tobago was to add wood to his coaching staff as well. For Trinidad and Tobago, it's a lovely ball for Andre Raymond. Directly into his path. He wasn't afforded really the chance to take that touch because of the presence. And then 2% possession back to Kahim Dixon. He actually debuted for Jamaica as a 19-year-old against Trinidad and Tobago 2 and a bit years ago. It's the 8th time that they've met since March of 2023. And Jamaica, as it stands, are on course to make it 7 unbeaten in this fixture. Andre Raymond, quite had it under his thumb. Regardless of the outcome, on to seize petition back on the calendar for the first time in 21 years, only the 3rd time that it has ever been staged. Jamaica have been ever present in it. 2002 and 2004, the first couple of iterations of the Unity Cup. So staged in London, Loftus Road, and notable that he switched to the right hand side and hit Burrell through the middle. The opposite way around at the start. Equally capable throw. So on Molino as they tussle forward on the touchline. Really yet seen the response from Trinidad and Tobago. Seems falling behind from the penalty spot. It might change here. Got back to him. He's looking a threat, isn't he, on debut, Rio Cardines? Still only 19, rising through the ranks at Crystal Palace. Senior first team debut for them. He's made his senior international debut before he has it at club level. And he fancied his chances maybe of getting a debut goal here. With real promise. Made his under-20 international debut in February of last year. Back here to Davis. He's quickly put under pressure. Yeah. Looking a real threat just at the moment. And we're looking to pick his way through. 20 back in red. And that looked fairly cynical from Richard King. And it is going to cost him a caution, and no surprise in there. Locked off Kevin Molino. But he had to do something there because there was plenty of space in behind them. was a title winner at the weekend, playing in the 6th consecutive international. Jamaica's number 6. Pretty animated in the last few minutes. Steve McLaren watching on. 10 games he's had in charge so far, for 4 today since getting the job at the end of July. Just the 2 defeats, 4 victories so far. And it is his first job in management since he was dismissed in West London with Queen's Park Rangers in the Championship in 2019. And that spell, of course, is Eric Ten Hag's assistant back at Manchester United. And as technical director at Derby County as well in between. Here's Gilbert. Molino.
Sporty TV YouTube promo 10 seconds action.
Okay, we got the best live football and
Got out by Palmer. Here's Hayden. Casey Palmer dispossessed by Phillips, who did well. Potentially turning defence into attack for the Soca Warriors. Gilbert. Kevin Molino. Gilbert's continued his run. Does have support here. And there's the chance. Wide it goes from Molino. Possibly the one that they would have wanted on the end of it was the skipper. And he will feel that he should have done more with it here. Heading towards the final 5 of the first half. What a difference this would have made. Not the easiest of skills to take it on first time. To Jones's ball in, cleared the head of Hayden, fell favourably for Molino. Well, that sums up the spirit, maybe, doesn't it, of this competition. Mbakisa. Fans mingling in the stands, players embracing the occasion on the pitch as well as a real opportunity to showcase their skills. Unity Cup, a competition that goes beyond sport, really. Not the primary reason why it has been brought back for this year. They've been trying to do it at the organisers for a little while. It was initially planned pre-COVID to get it back on the calendar. It hasn't been possible until this year, when the stars have aligned. Neatly done from Dante Gilbert. Cardines. Just the crucial moment really went up against Amari Bell. Amari Bell of Luton Town, who was relegated from Championship, relegated in the second season. He was a Premier League player just over a year ago, but one of those that the club have announced will be leaving at the end of his deal. So he's another looking to put himself potentially in the shop window tonight. And indeed over the course of the international summer with Jamaica. King goes back to Davis. There's Hayden. Mason Holgate. Molly Bell involved again against him. And they see that's pulled back by the referee's whistle. It was Davis, wasn't it, over there? switch flanks, those two. He's giving Alvin Jones some trouble here. Something else that's called for his attention. His team needs to remain switched on at the back as well, and maybe he's just getting a little concerned at the changing balance of play as this heads towards half-time. Trinidad and Tobago starting to find more of a threat maybe the longer the first half has gone on. That was a love. The options either side. As a result, Davis was calling for it. He was looking for Burrell instead. Palmer, and again for Casey Palmer. And Davis, and nearly for Roll. Well defended by Daniel Phillips under pressure. Did what he could with that. And there goes Gilbert. And the Keeser going all the way with Dante Gilbert. He'll start halting his progress. Steve McClaren now right there on the edge of his technical area. It's all unfolding just in front of him. It's clear that he will have a bit to say to his side at the break. They've been the dominant force for long spells of this first half, certainly the early stages of it, but since the goal went in, they've not been able to extend their advantage, and it's starting to look a more slender looking lead at the moment. Last minute of the first 45 here, with the Soca Warriors advancing once more. And Burrell was the solitary target for that one. It was misplaced. The other side hanging around at the restarts though here. It's been a really good tempo to this opening semi-final. Noah Powder taking a touch. Plays in the third tier of US football in League One of the USL with Westchester. Their first ever senior international, Noah Powder. He's lost the 2 caps, have both been starts in this fixture. In the friendly in February as well, as we go into just a solitary minute of additional time at the end of the first half. That may be their best chance, hasn't he, Kevin Molino, in this first period, to try and get Trinidad and Tobago back on terms. Does look like, though, that Casey Palmer's goal will separate them at the interval. Palmer from the penalty spot. We'll see changes, I'm sure, from both sides in the second half. Mixing up the minutes a little bit, giving plenty of players opportunities. And that is that for the first half here. And Jamaica with the slender lead. Jamal Jack with the challenge on Ronaldo Cephas that led to the award of the penalty. And up to convert it steps Casey Palmer. Just past the midway point of the first half. Panenka penalty from Palmer to put them in front to score his first international goal for Jamaica. And it's the goal that separates them at the interval here. But the Trinidad and Tobago supporters will still harbour hope as they head for the tunnel. It is all in past, but this far from finished. The break at the GTEC Community Stadium, Brentford. It is Jamaica 1, Trinidad and Tobago 0.
Emri
easy as ABC. So keep the text coming in. You can never tell. You might be the lucky winner. Okay, so let's look at the goal again and then the build-up quickly before we cross. The defense, you think they were caught ball watching? You think it was a quick move by the Jamaicans to delve into the penalty box, tackle comes in, had a penalty, and what a cheeky panic.
I think, most of the time when that is coming from the left side of the attack, defenders are, a little bit slow in how to approach the attacker. That is most difficult for most central defenders in those angles, and that is where the central defender of Trinidad and Tobago find himself wanting. So I think the player from Jamaica was smart enough to make sure he cut in with the right foot into the 18-yard box. That is where he made the trick for them to get that goal.
But obviously, Blackgate, the quality of the penalty.
The quality, the player plays for Chelsea London, and you can tell. The junior side, Palmer Jason. He debuted for England junior side, but he never had the opportunity to play for the senior side. So he just went back to his roots. And you need to have the composure and the calmness to be able to pull that off. And I think he really executed that to perfection. That reminds me of Andrea Pirlo, the former midfield dynamo
AC Milan
Juventus Italy national team player. I think the better side took that lead in the first half. Jamaica basically carved out Trinidad and Tobago on countless occasions. And the way they link up on top of the pitch is a thing of a beauty. And so
I quench that thirst.
Burberry Hero, the new Parfum Intense.
Lineup. Michel Antonio, we said it before the start of the game that he's injured. It will affect the game. But the other players who are playing for them are strong enough to make sure they put the ball behind.
All right, let's cross and go back to the GTech Community Stadium as we bring you the second 45 minutes. I understand that lots of people are glued by their sets or behind their sets watching this game in earnest. Let me say a very big thank you very much for doing so. Abner Speed of Asofan. Of course, you are a member of the media fraternity and you love watching your football on live TV and of course on Max TV as well. But the players will get themselves ready. And so, gentlemen, before we get the green light to go, expectations, second 45.
Well, I expect Jamaica to continue from where they left off in the first half, and then they should add that cushion goal to be able to get the game beyond their opponents.
In Saturday's final, Nigeria against Ghana to come in the second semi tomorrow, but plenty still to come in the second half here. The Soccer Warriors are about to get off and underway. So it is Trinidad and Tobago to get this second half started. Can they get themselves back in this semi-final? We'll certainly sense their opportunity. That penalty, the difference at this juncture. Important preparation for both as well, ahead of those World Cup qualifiers to come. Maury Bell under pressure here, has lost out against Cardines, and it required Davis to come and deny him. Big opening for Rio Cardines. That's twice he's come close to a debut goal, the Crystal Palace player. Didn't look an awful lot of danger here, but Amari Bell just dwelt on it a little bit. Cardines did get to it first. Well, grateful to his goalkeeper. Now Burrell at the other end for Jamaica. So they're to attack for the first time in this second half. By Phillips initially. And he was able to sting out the pass to ensure that it reaches Gilbert. He was a threat in that first. Was Dante Gilbert. That's the middle part of the pitch. But the full 90 in both of their qualifying games against Cuba for the Gold Cup in March. The English-born players in Enfield, Daniel Phillips of Trinidad and Tobago. Fitting maybe on an occasion like this that it was the London-born Casey Palmer that's got the goal in the Unity Cup. The only goal so far. Representing England and scored England at under 21 level. Palmer born in Lewisham, a goal scorer in West London today for Jamaica. His first for Jamaica. Here's Gilbert. There's that rangy run and a useful attempt at the finish goal, trying to bend it back. But not quite. Can take Gilbert. For Trinidad and Tobago, he scored on his last start, a 3-1 home win against Cuba in the CONCACAF Nations League back in October of last year. Scored on his last appearance for Young PSV as well in the second tier of Dutch football against Utrecht in May, the start of this month. As mentioned, it's likely to be his last appearance for them out of contract in the summer. Amari Bell. Cephas, the player who won the penalty. It was a real handful in that first half. Beautifully by Davis. And the pieces cross. And he partially cleared. That was an opportunity. And still the danger maybe with Amari Bell. This Cephas. Looking at the end of it for Jamaica this time. There was a chance for Kahim Dixon. And had a big one of his own earlier in the game. The Keese's cross was problematic. It was cut out and cleared only as far as Kahim Dixon, but there was a big block in there to deny him. Took it on first time with power. Winning a 13th cap tonight, Kahim Dixon. He's still only 20, very much on the fringes with Charlton Athletic this season. I'm surprised to see so many of the English-based players starting for Jamaica, particularly given how their domestic season only finished on Friday. And talking about the involved that some of his players are really experiencing for the first time. It hammers home, he says, to those domestic-based players, the commitment of those playing in Europe to make that journey frequently during the club season to represent Jamaica. No reversal for this friendly. Let's close it away. Trinidad and Tobago currently still a player short here. And now will the referee step in? So a little break in play while some treatment can be administered to Isaiah Leacock, who's struggled really to get into the game on debut. Had an excellent domestic season, scoring those 16 league goals in winning the title with defenders. Nobody anywhere near him really when he went down there on the edge of the penalty area. Just lost it in. He's one of those hoping to impress Dwight York up top. The last time that Trinidad and Tobago played in London was back in 2006. Friendly win against Iceland by 2-0, and Dwight York scored both of the goals in that game, including from the penalty spot. And the opportunity came to manage his it was one that he could not turn down. Been attempting to break into management in England, actually. A chance to do so with Trinidad and Tobago, one that his family felt he simply had to take. And he certainly believes that progress has already been made in the relatively short time that he's been in situ since getting the job in November. Still getting to know his players. Still yet to settle, he says, on a certain system, but it is in the DNA of the team to try and play entertaining attacking football, and we've seen plenty of that on the show so far tonight from both of these sides. Cephas takes some stopping in those situations. Seen already. It's an opportunity, so Steve McLaren, for individuals to prove that they can get into the squad for the World Cup qualifiers. Oh, the Gold Cup to come. Head here, and for more. Fullback. He's able to stand up the cross. Didn't quite reach Casey Palmer. Touch in there for Bell. Now Cephas. Back towards Palmer. And again. And he does get his shot away. And there's the improvised finish to make it 2. And it's the debut goal for Ramon Barral. And a goal to remember in every sense. 2-0 Burton Albion scores for Jamaica on his first appearance in the national shirt. And he scores in some style. Two English-born players on target for Steve McClaren's team. Opportunities to get it clear. Palmer was denied by Marvin Phillip, but Burrell finds the spectacular finish. Palmer, who scored the first from the spot, playing his part in that one as well. And what a moment for Ramon Burrell. First ever international call-up for a player who came through the youth ranks at Grimsby Town. He's had spells with Middlesbrough, on loan at Bradford City in Kilmarnock. He played for Falkirk in Scotland as well. At international level as Trinidad and Tobago try and respond straight away. And what league title? He's taken his chance here, all right. Jamaica were maybe still celebrating their second, hadn't quite switched back on again, and they've been made to pay. Molino, who picked him out, Leacock able to take one touch to set himself, and then finds the finish. Two debut goals at either end in a matter of moments. And Jamaica's lead is swiftly trimmed back to 1. Lovely ball, opens up again, and well, that's a crucial challenge from Jelani Peters. Shuts the door just in time on John Russell. It really has opened up yet further in the second half. Palmer to take responsibility. Quite as troubling as it might have been. So where does this game go from here? Trinidad and Tobago swiftly restoring hope with the goal that they scored through Leacock. It won't be long, I don't think, before we see plenty hoping to get involved later. Cardi trying to get on the end of this. He's been heavily involved on debut. Rory Bell stopped him this time. Palmer picking up the pieces. Strong serves, but Alvin Jones went with him. He didn't have a lot of margin for error in making the challenge. What he had to do here, Alvin Jones. It's a real key duel between those two, really, in the overall context of the contest. Oh, we're just taking his time. Everybody just taking a little bit of a breather, maybe. Final touch there was a Trinidad and Tobago touch. Combination of Jack and Peters. But he's central to the story, isn't he, on debut Burrell? They might just have a new hero. It's only a year ago that Lamont Burrell was playing for Cove Rangers in League One in Scotland. An international goal scorer. Palmer's corner. Put away more decisively in the end this time by those in red. Limbakisa came up. Atlantic rewarding their communities here in England's capital. Leacock, neatly done, and it will come for Cardines here. Bell went with him, and he had to. Getting heavily involved in attack, isn't he? Here we go. He wants to reach that first, but Amari Bell stuck to his task. Comes out here for Noah Powder. Never troubling the target with that one. For Noah Powder. Dwight York, of course, knows a thing or two about scoring for Trinidad and Tobago. He remains in their top 10 field, certainly towards the end of his international career. It's done 72 caps. Born on the island of Tobago in Canaan. He was previously the assistant manager of the national team. In that position, and that's a heavy touch from Shakan Davis, just about gets away with it. Trinidad and Tobago not hanging around here. Alvin Jones with the cross. Comes back in his direction. He's been kept pretty busy just at the moment. Cardines in space again. In and around the Jamaican territory for the Soccer Warriors. Some big games coming up in World Cup qualifying against St Kitts and Nevis at home and Costa Rica away to conclude the second round of CONCACAF qualifying. They're currently in second place behind Costa Rica after the first couple of games. They're still behind here, but they're intent on changing that. Ended up by Davis, though. This goal really has given them renewed hope. Dwight York, of course, to the World Cup in 2006, played against England, for whom Steve McLaren was an assistant coach, and Sven-Göran Eriksson at the time. It's fair to say they have plenty of history, those two. We are going to see some changes shortly. I think there's activity down on the... Just a bit too much on that for Gilbert. Couple of changes being readied by Dwight York. Rion Moore is going to come on, and Christian Lee him as well. Part of a double change. Burrell did well. There's Russell. Burrell continued his run. Russell's threaded it into his path. He has Cephas in the middle. And again! Which Kahim Dixon is pointing out. Look at the space that he was in here initially. The place with back to goal, and certainly Kahim Dixon, I think, made it clear that that would have been his preferred option from there. Went for the back heel instead. It got another go. Did Cephas. Nearly, but not quite. Dominant plays play. He changed of his own. He's also going to bring on, by the way, Ravel Morrison shortly, who was only called up yesterday, and he joined up with the rest of the squad yesterday, having initially been omitted by McLaren. Phillips did well. Kyle Ming is going to be the player coming on shortly for Jamaica, by the way. Both teams are readying a double change. That's going to come on, you know. Peters. Well, there was Gilbert. Still beautifully balanced, isn't it? Phillips here. Hayden looks like he's come off the worst. Came across to try and get to that first. Isaac Hayden, it's come at some personal cost. So whilst he received some treatment, on his first cap is going to be replaced here. September of last year. Jamaica just holding on. Very well found something about a set-piece specialist. We've seen that already on his international debut. Thus far. A lot of organising for Davis to do in goal. Often the regular veteran goalkeeper on the bench over the side before winning his set tonight. Will he be required here? Rio Kane stands over it for Trinidad and Tobago with an inviting sight goal. Turns from got a lot of time to think about it. Trinidad. The skipper scores for the Soko Warriors. He was the one in the race of profit. Hit the post, bounced off the goalkeeper, and then in from Molino for goal number 25 of his distinguished international career. It's an excellently struck free kick. It took the wall out of the equation despite the positioning of it. When it hit the goalkeeper, it could have gone anywhere, really. It could have gone in, but instead it fell favourably for Molino. So, all square. And Jamaica, Daniel Green and Ravel Morrison are on into a very different situation now. Set about trying to re-establish their lead. Here goes Green, his first involvement. There's a number of the Mount Pleasant players that suffered that penalty disappointment in the domestic Premier League playoff final at the weekend. Started the 1-1 draw against Trinidad and Tobago in February on his last cap. He's on for his 7th appearance in his country's colours. Casey Palmer has made way for Ravel Morrison, and that's quite some story. Morrison's return, having initially been excluded by Steve McLaren, who said he couldn't pick him because he couldn't watch him. Morrison currently plays in the 3rd tier in the United Arab Emirates. And not even available to watch on video, said McLaren. But he had a bit of a change of heart yesterday when Morrison was summoned to the squad and is winning his first cap for over 2 years tonight. Two goal scorers making way for Jamaica in those changes, and now they need to find another one to re-establish their advantage. Alvin Jones is down. There's the challenge on it by the substitute Daniel Green. Quite up to speed, it's cost him a caution. Going to be okay to continue is Alvin Jones here. And he's retreated from the touchline again. There's Steve McLaren. The side were in charge, but no more. It's crucial, I think, wasn't it, that Trinidad and Tobago got one back as quickly as they did, having gone two behind, because it has provided them with this platform to push on to parity. Who knows how this is going to end up? As I say, if it is level after 90 minutes, we go to a penalty shootout. The last meeting between them did end all square, 1-1 in Kingston in February. Extending Jamaica's unbeaten run to 6 matches in this fixture. Fixture that has been contested 72 times previously between these rival islands. Now Cephas opens up for Jamaica. Goalkeeper can't hold it. Morrison trying to follow up. Just unable to force it in. Almost an instant impact from the returning Ravel Morrison, and relief for Marvin Phillip, who made the initial save but seen it run loose again. That had already proved costly once in this second half. And to make this stop from Cephas, credit as well Alvin Jones, who got across to make it more difficult for Morrison than it might have been.
I have a child that has a little.
He's a player, Morrison, that Steve McLaren has worked with previously at Derby County, knows what he can do, the quality that he has. But he didn't know whether he was in the sort of condition to be able to make a difference in international football at the moment, given the level that he's playing at in Dubai. The 14th different club of his career that began, of course, so promisingly at Manchester United. Jones looking for options, floats it forward. A little too far in front of Christian Lee Him. He's back in the national setup for the first time since November 2023. The 7th cap. Swedish-based player is Christian Lee Him of the Syrianska club. As John York said, there are so many players he's still really getting to know and wants to have a look at. He comes into that category clearly. Ravel Morrison, who was without a club for a good while after leaving DC United. He followed Wayne Rooney there from Derby County. Never quite really been able to find a home at club level. Isaac Hayden to Mason Holgate. Closing quarter of an hour now of the 90. Games ahead for Jamaica as well. On their opening 2 World Cup qualifiers in the second round in Group E. Certainly want to win this one. I thought they'd put themselves in a position to do so. Now they're having to do it all over again. Mason Holgate's effort there deflects behind for the corner. It's only a 4th cap for their number 4. We're going to see a triple change very shortly from Trinidad and Tobago. They will wait until after this corner, which is taken quickly and short. Morrison taking one up for Isaac Hayden. Block was by Jack. The corner to come on the other side. Richard King forward from centre back. It's played short into his feet. Plenty to aim for in the middle. No free kick given on the edge of the area. They're not too much really by way of a Jamaican protest either. And some Holgate up from the back. So the changes will happen here for Trinidad and Tobago. Alvin Jones is going to come on. He's the most experienced in the squad. Molino making way, having got his goal, played his part. squared it up at 2-2. Jovan Jones really can play anywhere. Two-time MLS Cup winner with the Seattle Sounders back in the days. But playing in Trinidad and Tobago with the Police FC club. The 6th all-time in their list of appearance makers now. And so on it, discussed take make in the final change season. John Paul Rochford. Oh. Number 15. Rochford, who's capable of the spectacular, will take the place of Gilbert. Jones for Molino. So the two brothers on the pitch at the same time, Jovan and Alf, as they are. So Greg Lee of Oxford United is going to be summoned shortly by Steve McLaren. Once of Oxford United himself, of course. The change is imminent. He's receiving his instructions there. The left back scored 6 goals actually in the Championship season for Oxford, including against Swansea on the final day of the season earlier this month. We have missed Jamaica's last 4 internationals, but is back today. Morrison. Will be a 24th cap for Greg Lee tonight. With the English-based contingent coming on. Might mean a little bit of a reshuffle because it's Kahim Dixon over on the far side of the field there that has been replaced. He is capable of playing further forward. You would suspect a reshuffle as a result of that change. Coming up to 5 years since his debut for the national team for Greg Lee. He did play at the Copa America for them last year. He's kept there since November. Daniel Green was able to reach it. Kisa was looking for Holgate, who was a little fortunate that it did end up dropping in his direction. And then he was dispossessed unfairly. It's a free kick and a yellow card as well. With the challenge on him by Leon Moore. Found himself the wrong side, had a bit of a tangle, did Moore, so he's gone into the book as well. The Trinidad and Tobago substitute. So Dixon's part is played. The reception he got from the fans as he made his way around the perimeter of the pitch. Jamaica tried to keep the pressure on here. We have stepped in though, because Jamal Jack is down within suspicion of a head injury. Just taken one centre back off, and now they have an issue over another. Do have Sheldon Pato on the bench, by the way. He's been recalled for the first time this year. I hope that it's a change that they don't have to make, but he will have to pass all the protocols to be able to continue with Jack. A decent game back there. And that is still very much in the balance. That could be heading to the penalty shootout potentially. This is how he was hurt. And he's ball in. Challenge came in on Jamal Jack by Mason Holgate. Both only had eyes for the ball. And good to see him pretty swiftly back on his feet again. Applause as well from the Jamaican fans in the spirit of the Unity Cup. They really have served up a spectacle, these two sides, in the opening fixture of the competition. Tickets first went on sale back in April. And there have been plenty packing the G-Tech, as they will tomorrow and certainly on Saturday, when all four nations are in action in that double header. Third place playoff followed by the final, and we're still no nearer knowing which of these Caribbean nations will be representing the region in that final. There's Morrison to clever ball, volleyed forward. First direction to pass. He's now playing more centrally. He's been for much of the second half. He's maybe had the best chance to put them back in front after the 2-goal lead was lost. Russell. Wide for Green. Back with John Russell. Mason Holgate. Marvin Jones, just enough on that for Marvin Phillip. He almost sold the goalkeeper a little short, but Phillip reacted well. That's an excellent ball, and it opens up here for Trinidad and Tobago, maybe to go in front for the first time. Big save from Davis, still the chance for Cardines and wide. Close but not close enough for Trinidad and Tobago, who almost turned this around in its entirety. That's the ball that did the damage, really. John Paul Rochford with the initial shot that brought the save. And then Cardines over the top. Well, close on more than one occasion, Cardines. Rochford deserves real credit. He made the run. It was a brilliant ball that picked him out. He called Shekan Davis into action. Lee forward at the other end here towards Amari Bell. Furthest forward we've seen him. What a frantic final 5 of the 90 we could yet still have in store here. Well, it's exactly the sort of competitive contest that they would have hoped it would be. This will certainly aid their preparations for the competitive commitments to come over the course of the summer. It's Greg Lee that played it forward here, and Alvin Jones just stretching himself and then hurt a little bit, maybe on landing as well. And it goes from the throw. Hasn't been dealt with yet. Lee's in there, big stop. Wonderful save from Marvin Phillip to keep Trinidad and Tobago on terms. He met it well, did Greg Lee. He hasn't been on long. Might have thought he was going to be cast in the role of match winner there, and would have been perhaps, but for the flying frame of Phillip. The 40-year-old goalkeeper with his reactions as razor sharp as ever. Goalkeeper has been to 5 different Gold Cups with Trinidad and Tobago. He debuted for them back in 2007 when he won the first of now 92 caps. They're based back home in Port of Spain these days. Wasn't necessarily expecting to start. He's not been the regular recently. Denzel Smith had played 7 of the previous 10. Andre Raymond only now is getting back to his feet again after that little stoppage. This is going to extend the drama yet further beyond the 90-minute mark as well, before we even get potentially to penalties. But what a save from Marvin Phillip. Won domestic titles as a cricketer as well back in the day. Wonderful reactions from him. But more work potentially to do from the corner. Ravel Morrison waiting to take it for Jamaica. And it goes from Morrison into a threatening area. Cleared out as far as Daniel Green here. And that pass wasn't as precise as it needed to be, and it could spell trouble actually. Here comes the counter maybe. Just couldn't quite keep his feet. Initially Jovin Jones, and well, the chance that was looming had gone. Still maybe make something of it. There will be a free kick to follow. But it was that slotted it through to Jovin Jones. Hayden got back to him. Cap number 95 for Jones tonight. Miller's Cup winner with Seattle in 2016 and 2019. Won this free kick. He's the one that is going to take it. And you could certainly see what he was trying with it. But Jamal Jack up from the back, just unable to get the touch required. Didn't miss the top of his head by much, did it? And neither side settling for a shootout. They both think they can go on and win this maybe in the last of the 90 minutes. Real Moore. There's Powder. Jovin Jones. Back to his brother Alvin Jones. Oh, it was late. Jovin Jones. Nowhere near the ball. The yellow card is out straight away for the player that has taken over the armband after replacing Kevin Molino. And he's gone into the book as well here. Wilson Holgate was clearly in front of him, and well, the referee was right there as well. He almost took Sarrett out with that as well. Indisputable caution. Tense times on the touchline as we head into what will be 5 additional minutes. 5 minutes for either side to find a winner before the possible penalty shootout. Maybe the problem. Bounced up and hit him on the arm there, didn't it? Next to Limbakisa, right in front of the assistant referee. They've been richly entertained. Still the outcome in the balance. First game in London for Jamaica since the summer of 2014, over a decade ago, since they drew with Egypt at Brisbane Road. That one finished 2-2. There has to be a winner tonight. Oh, is that going to fall? Making the way of Moore. Seeing one up for Jovin Jones. Jamaica have got that quickly. Rochford. And then the attempt ball is just too high. But he applauds the intention. John Paul Rochford has made a difference since Dwight York brought him on from the bench. One thought on his mind, really. That top corner is cut in on the right foot. Charging forward, flipping it through, Cephas reaching it just ahead of the goalkeeper, and penalty given. He was a fraction late, Marvin Phillip there, and Ronaldo Cephas has won his second penalty of the game, which might ensure that a penalty shootout is not required after all. Real drama right at the end, midway through stoppage time. He did brilliantly to get on the end of it, to get there first. Well, it slipped it through to him. Got in front of Justin Garcia. Marvin Phillip had to come. There was no margin for error as he flung himself at the feet of Ronaldo Cephas. And referee Barrett has pointed to the penalty spot for the second time in the game. Well, Phillip was beaten by a Panenka from Casey Palmer in the first half. Palmer long since substituted, so it's going to fall instead to Richard King, I think, here to maybe win the game. He scored in the penalty shootout for Cavalier on Friday to win the Premier League title in the playoff final domestically. What he has never done yet is score for Jamaica. It's cap number 23 for the centre-back tonight. He's the one that has the responsibility on his shoulders. Up against Marvin Phillip. Powerful penalty. King finds the top corner. And Jamaica surely have won it after all. Richard King from the spot. The Reggae Boys, the Kings of the Caribbean tonight. Although in the midst of all those celebrations, they will remember that they conceded almost from kickoff when they scored earlier in their second half. But they are almost there. Richard King kept his composure. A wonderful week from the penalty spot it has been for him. A league title just 4 days ago, and now a first international goal. And Marvin Phillip, who conceded it, just couldn't quite keep it out. Two really contrasting penalties we've seen from Jamaica today. The Panenka in the first half, and then the power. The laces through it, into the postage stamp. And Jamaica lead again. And they will have what remains of stoppage time to hold on this time to prove that lessons have been learned from last time. Can Dwight York's team do it again? Trinidad and Tobago will throw everything forward for these final flurries. Because of that, they could be caught out by Cephas again at the other end. He's had quite some game. His priority, though, having reached it, will be to hold on to it this time. Andre Raymond snapping at his heels to try and prevent that. Morrison helping out for Jamaica. The place in the final on Saturday is moments away for the Reggae Boys. Their recent dominance in this fixture against their Caribbean rivals set to continue. It's a game really that could have gone either way. A game that has encapsulated everything that this Unity Cup was designed to be about. We'll just try and hold it up here for as long as they can. And Jamaica have done it. Relief for the Reggae Boys at the end as they settle it from the spot in stoppage time. Steve McLaren gets the better of Dwight York. Trinidad and Tobago, who battled back from two behind to get themselves level, left heartbroken at the conclusion when Richard King stepped up from the spot. His penalty ensuring that a penalty shootout wasn't required. Marvin Phillip conceded it. and then was beaten from the spot for the second time in this semi-final. Casey Palmer had put the Reggae Boys in front in the first half when the lead was doubled by debutant Roman Burrell. They looked well set for victory. But what spirit showed by Dwight York's team in response. They were straight back in the game when they got one back. They were back on terms when Molino made it 2-2. And that is the way it stayed until stoppage time. No wonder Steve McLaren is all smiles. His return to management in West London has a happy ending tonight and a final to come at the weekend against Nigeria or Ghana, who will do battle tomorrow for the right to meet the Jamaicans in the final. Trinidad and Tobago will have to settle for the third place playoff. Full time, Jamaica 3, Trinidad and Tobago 2.
90 minutes plus 5 minutes of extra time is what Trinidad and Tobago and Jamaica needed to settle this match. What a game it has been. 90 plus 5 minutes of action, and the fans have loved every single bit of it. The fans have been cheering from start to finish. They have been served a sumptuous football meal, something we need to look at, because Trinidad and Tobago may have lost this game, but they are worth the game. And of course, that match for third place will be a cracker, whether it is between the Super Eagles of Nigeria or the Black Stars of Ghana. But 90 minutes of action are up, and there they will do the walk of honor. The fans will appreciate the hard work that these young boys from Jamaica put in. The Reggae Boys, they call themselves. And at the end of it all, first goal being scored by Palmer, the second was by Burrell, and then the last from King ensured that 3 goals to the good. It mustered the courage and played against Trinidad and Tobago. What a side they showed. Did not start too well in the very first half, but Trinidad and Tobago came back stronger through Leacock and, of course, Molino getting 2 goals. It just wasn't enough. An unfortunate last-minute penalty separated the men from the boys. But look at the fans. It doesn't really matter which side you are on. The Jamaicans are happy. Trinidad and Tobago have their fans also supporting them loud and clear, which means it's going to be a cracker tomorrow as the West Africans take onto the field to separate themselves. Who is going to win that battle royale? The gentlemen in the studio will take a sneak preview into that. But obviously, we will take a look at the comeback second 45 minutes for Trinidad and Tobago. And of course, Dwight York knows that he's played against his master. He may have lost the game, but certainly not a disgraced side. Full time, and it ends Jamaica 3, Trinidad and Tobago 2. Congratulations to a hard-working Jamaican side. The reggae will flow in the hotels tonight as they rest and take a look at who they might meet in the very final. Will it be the Super Eagles or the Black Stars of Ghana? What a game it has been. And obviously, we're all totally elated at the fact that one team won, yes, but we saw total constructive football. Let's do a very quick break. When we come back, we'll share our last thoughts with you.
Premium Ghana cocoa beans, selected with great patience, roasted in time, grinded into a fine rich cocoa powder, tempered with a perfect amount of milk for a rich and creamy taste, filled with abundant goodness of the satisfying taste of cocoa, enriched with a burst of the vitamins, iron and zinc. Niche chocolate drink, taste of Ghana, enriched with. This advert is FDA approved.
Here no weekend night. You here no weekend fight. So friends, papa do na woman. No, yaga fall. And if you know whom, yaga fall. And you can have my home. If you be a group, Oh, your banana bemo. Utumeno. Chris, I go back.